Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. What I'd like to talk about is motivation. When you're working with somebody who's not doing what you want them to do, is not doing what they ought to be doing, they're not doing it either because they can't, ability, or they don't want to, motivation. And I'm going to focus on the motivation side and build a model of motivation. I want to start by debunking a myth. The opposite of motivated isn't lazy. I'm not saying there aren't lazy people out there. What I'm saying is thinking about someone as lazy doesn't give you much purchase power for changing them. It works better if you think of all of us as always being motivated, but not always being motivated to do what you want us to do, right? So I might be really motivated to go home and take a nap, and I might work really hard and be really creative and find some ingenious way to make that happen. That's a motivation problem, right? So a motivation problem is like a difference in priorities. So we're going to look at how do you explain your priorities in a way that's believable and convincing, while at the same time understanding the other person's priorities so that you can make a balanced, careful, wise decision. So that's what this is about. And I want to introduce the way you motivate somebody is by explaining consequences. What I mean by consequences are results, impacts, outcomes. We're motivated by the outcomes of our behavior, right? And there are two broad classes of outcomes or consequences to consider: natural consequences and imposed consequences. Here's an example of natural consequences. Junior, if you ride your bike on the wrong side of the road, drivers may have trouble seeing you and you could get hit. It's a natural consequence. Here's an imposed consequence. Junior, if I catch you riding your bike on the wrong side of the road, I'm going to lock you in your room till you're 23. Okay, that's an imposed consequence. Now, we're going to argue that when possible, you want to motivate using natural rather than imposed consequences. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Let me share some of those reasons. The first is, with natural consequences, you don't have to have power over them. You can be their peer. You can use natural consequences with your boss, maybe even your parents, right? Now, another reason is you don't become the focus of resentment. They aren't angry at you because you're making them do something. Instead, you're explaining the way the world works, and they get to make their own informed choice, right? That's powerful. Again, you don't have to catch them doing something wrong because they understand they're committed to the right course of action, and they're self-motivated, becomes intrinsic. They learn why you care about the issue. When you say, do it because I said so, they know that you care, but they don't know why you care, right? Now you've explained it, right? And finally, they're motivated by understanding rather than just obedience. Oftentimes, when you're working with knowledge workers, with experts, obedience isn't nearly good enough. You need their full understanding and commitment because you're expecting them to use their ingenuity, their creativity, their initiative to go way beyond what you could order them to do. So I'm going to talk about a certain kind of natural consequence. It's the most powerful natural consequence that's in your tool of kits. It's the consequences that they aren't aware of, that you know about and they don't. Often they don't know about them because they're beyond their time horizon. So you're thinking of consequences that are further down the road. You know the old saying that hard work pays off in the future, but laziness pays off right now, right? Sometimes you're looking beyond their time horizon and you can inform them of consequences they hadn't thought of. Other times you're explaining consequences that are beyond their geographic horizon. So consequences that might happen to a customer they're not aware of, or a part of your firm that's hidden to them, that they don't know about. They're thinking within their own little function, within their own work team. You're bringing in information from a broader perspective. I want to give an example of what we call making the invisible visible. And it comes from my sister-in-law who teaches middle school. She teaches English in South Dakota. And this happened at her school. One day, the janitor came in to the principal and he had a complaint. And here's the complaint. The girls, like the 8th grade girls, were going into the girls' bathroom and they were putting on lipstick and they were kissing the mirror. Go figure, right? They're smearing lipstick on the mirror. And this stuff is horrible to get off. And so the custodian says, gee, could you get them to stop? And the principal said, of course. So the principal waits and then during homeroom time gets on the intercom, right, the PA system, and says, excuse me, it's come to our attention. The girls are putting on lipstick in the girls' bathroom and smearing it on the mirrors. It's got to stop. And the problem got much worse. And this went on for about a week. And then the custodian came to my sister-in-law and said, listen, I think I've got a way to get these girls to stop smearing lipstick on the mirror. I want to show them just how hard it is to get it off the mirror, and I wonder if you could help me. And she said, of course, I'd love to. What can I do? And she said, well, if you could find 4 or 5 of the older girls who you describe as sort of opinion leaders, you know, the girls others look up to, if you could meet me in the girls' bathroom over lunch, I'd like to give them a demonstration of just how hard it is to get this lipstick off. And she said, great, I'll do that. So she finds 4 or 5 of the girls and she brings them to the girls' bathroom and the custodian's there. And you can see the lipstick smearing all over the mirror and he says, see how this, let me show you what I have to do to get this off. And he takes a squeegee, he dips it in the toilet and he starts scrubbing the mirror. Yeah, the problem went away. These girls had no idea how he was cleaning the mirror. So what the custodian did was make the invisible visible. Now we're ready to take a break. Now we come back, we're going to do some practice of this, okay?